OverDrive off and running. TSN 1050 on the TSN app. Your home smart speaker up on TSN 3, up on YouTube Live. Brian Hayes, Yo Doug, Jeff O'Neill, Jamie Noodles McLennan.
What's going on today?
How are we feeling? Beautiful day here in Toronto.
Yeah, it is
Beautiful day in Toronto. Keswick, Muskoka. It's gorgeous in Ontario today. How are we feeling out there in the West Coast?
Boys, I just want to tell you, enjoy my last week of OverDrive because I could be moving on to bigger and better things. I had a coffee meeting with Chris Sagan of the CHL, and we discussed me possibly being involved in high-level meetings with the Canadian Hockey League. And he said to me, and by the way, he will come on this show for 5 minutes and explain what my fit and my role would be. He thinks it would be a great fit. He said, we'd like to have you involved in some high-level meetings. So this could be the last week of OverDrive, boys. I could be taking a position with the CHL.
Wow.
Wow.
That's big news. Big news.
Like trainer?
Yeah, what exactly would the role be? Like, there's no details on what this is, but just high-ranking meetings. What does that mean?
You don't leave OverDrive to be like, some pigeon role. I would be a high-ranking official in the Canadian Hockey League making big calls.
Okay.
I don't know. We'll have to maybe get him on for 5 minutes. He might think I'm crazy. Maybe he was bluffing. If there's 5 minutes near the end of the show, we'll see what we can do.
Well, I like that. I like that idea. I mean, we got a lot of Canadian Hockey League alumni coming on the show today, right? Josh Georges will join you around the table. He's an assistant coach with Kelowna. Josh is coming up. Chris Pronger, one of the all-time great Peterborough Petes, right? And Marty Baron, who's a QMJHL alumni. Back when it used to be called the QMJHL.
It's not called the QM?
No, now it's what did they get rid of? I think it's just the Q. The QHL? Maybe, I don't know. They got rid of one of those letters.
One letter. One
of the letters, because OHL pops, WHL pops.
Yes.
The QMJHL never really.
Too many letters.
It was too many. The acronym just didn't work.
Yeah.
But a little dis or data coming up with Marty as well.
Love it.
Because we've got some big games tonight. Obviously, at the Memorial Cup, we got big games tonight. We've got the scene in Montreal. Man, is electric. I did a radio hit today in Montreal, and I was so
envious.
Habs. For my Habs, the Montreal Canadiens. Yes, there's a lot of support. A lot of people were waiting for me to,
weigh in.
Speak what I had, my piece on TSN 690 today. There was a long list of people waiting to hear what I had to say about the game tonight. But they were preparing for the afternoon show to be outside the Bell Center, the pregame show outside the Bell Center, the postgame show at the Bell Center, and I'm just so envious.
Yeah,
because they just had F1. The weather's beautiful. They got Game 3 of the Cup or the conference final tonight, and we got a series. We got at least one series, right? In the West, it's done.
What the hell is going on?
It's over. West? It's over. Vegas is just. It's done. It's over. Vegas is going to cruise to a Cup final here.
Guys, you have to explain to me how Colorado rocked the whole season. I thought no one could touch them, and I've been saying for a month now that maybe Carolina can give them a run. What? It's like something happened, and I get Makar was injured, and it's almost like something happened, and they've completely collapsed. Like, guys have disappeared. Like, Marty Necas, is he playing in the series? Like, I don't know. There's a reason why Carolina decided, you know what, maybe we're walking away from it. Just seems like it's all a mess right now, and I don't know what the hell happened. Their goaltending, who knows? And Noodles, let's not get into a pissing match over their goaltending, saying that the guys are playing terrible in front of them.
No.
There's just a lot of pucks going in. It's crazy how it's just falling apart. It's a complete collapse. There's no other way to describe that team right now.
Well, I said this to Hayes off air, and you weigh in on it too. It's amazing how a team looks so different when their star players are either not available to them or they're hurt and banged up. And the trickle-down effect, it's like, okay, now we need Brock Nelson to stand up, or Nazem Kadri, or Brent Burns looks 40 years old now. And hey, Parker Kelly scored. We were always saying, hey, look at the depth scoring. Look at what you have. But when your top players are clearly injured, which Makar was 6 seconds into the game, and he got popped by Barbashev. And then that shot by McKinnon, if he
I haven't loved his game prior to that.
No, but
I have not loved
his body language, him yelling at his teammates, all of that, and now him being
ugly.
hurt.
Yeah, they're done.
It just, you look at it and it looks different. And you're right. I was shocked that they didn't start Blackwood last night. I thought they were going to come with Mackenzie Blackwood because they are a tandem. They lost the first two. And Jared Bednar said, yeah, we didn't play great in front of the goalie, but he could have made a couple saves. That was code for we're going to switch goaltenders. And it was Wedgwood that started last night, and I didn't love his game. So at the end of the day, there's lots that are coming apart, and there's lots of blame to go around. But you have injuries on the best players, the team looks a lot different. Colorado looks different right now. And
Makar in particular is obviously a huge miss, and he didn't play in the first two games. Now neither did Mark Stone.
Right.
But still, missing Makar, that means Manson's got to play more. That means Burns has to play more, and they're just not capable of doing it.
Right.
Because of, his ability to completely change the whole flow of the game. Everything goes through Cale Makar when he's healthy and on his game, and obviously that has not been the case. But I will say, Vegas has earned.
They deserve credit.
We didn't get to talk about Game 2 because it was on Friday night. They were way more physical. They've been way more physical than Colorado.
Yes,
way more physical. The way they're holding the line, their top four has been really good too. Yeah. The Hannafin-Anderson pairing's been great. Theodore McNabb, they got a top four defense there that is playing big, heavy. They move the puck. They're transitioning the puck. Carter Hart is 3-0. He's better than Wedgwood every single game.
Yep.
Last night included. After he spotted them three, he completely shut it down. And I also think what has happened here is this is a perfect situation for John Tortorella. He is a classic small doses coach.
Yes.
And it's the smallest, most effective dose you can get. 8 games, he's got a presence. They're all saying it. You can feel the aura of John Tortorella.
Yeah.
You know what he's about. You know what he's going to demand. He's going to get right in your face. It's very difficult to put up with that for 82 games.
Yes.
Especially the ebbs and flows, back-to-backs. You're traveling. You're like, this guy just needs to shut up and get away from me. I can't listen to it.
Right.
In the playoffs, you can listen to it.
Yes.
And you can adhere to it. And I think it's a perfect situation for John Tortorella because he's poking the right buttons. He's got them playing uber aggressive. They hold the line. They completely control the neutral zone through 3 games. McKinnon just can't get going. And now he's done because of the injury. And even if he plays tomorrow night, he's not going to be at 100%. But Vegas is here because they deserve to be here. They have been better, clear-cut through 3 games.
Agreed.
It's really, really impressive.
Maybe John Tortorella Hayes is remember when Teemu Solani just said, you know what? I think he might have done it 2 years in a row where he's like, I'm not going to play until February, and then I'm going to just sniff it out, and maybe I'll jump in there. Maybe that's what Torts is all about at this particular point in the career. Because you brought up the best point. I don't think anybody in an organization, whether it be the GM, the players, trainers, anybody, and I know Torts is generally a nice guy, but nobody wants to deal with it for 82 games. It's the perfect scenario. And I was talking to our old friend Bobby McKenzie in the lobby just about Vegas and how they go about business. It's well, they're just different than everybody else. They're like, screw it, man. We're firing our coach with how many games left? 7 or 8 games left. And we're bringing in John Tortorella.
Yeah.
And it's like they sign guys. They get rid of Marc-Andre Fleury. They bring in Carter Hart. They do business a little bit different. But I'm kind of glad Vegas, where the physicality is just showing up again, where it's not like the team racing around in 2-on-1s and 3. If you get people, big bodies that can move and get in the way of people that skate fast, you're going to have big-time problems. And they're proving it again.
Yeah.
Because earlier in the season, we were talking about Vegas saying, because every time Vegas plays Toronto, Gord Miller brings up a point of watching the Vegas Golden Knights in the morning skate, and he's like, these defensemen are giants out there.
Yeah.
And they are. They're huge. And he says they're like trees, and I'm just glad that still plays in the playoffs, because I think we're all like, maybe it's kind of worn off that big physical team in Vegas. Well, it hasn't, man, because they look damn good.
Yeah.
And my guy Mitchie, still lightning rod out there.
Well,
lightning.
The pass he made last night that's him in a nutshell. And listen, I've been talking about it. We've all been talking about it and trying to figure this out. And I was doing a hit on Montreal radio today, and we got into it about, what makes you feel good about where the Habs are into the future. And I think you can use it as an example of why it's working for Marner in Vegas. And again, why it didn't work here in Toronto is Montreal's big four that gets a ton of the oxygen in terms of chatter, fanfare, highlight reels, social media, viral moments. Suzuki, Caulfield, Slavkovsky, Demidov, right? That's their big four. Not the equivalent to the Leaf Big Four.
Up front,
talent, but that's what I mean, up front. It's you got a 50-goal scorer, you got a 100-point Selke guy, you got a first overall pick, you got Demidov, who's 5th overall, that's going to be electric.
Yeah.
But if they don't have the race stuff, you've got a defense core that has a top 4 that is as good as anyone in the league or close to it.
Yeah.
You've got a goaltender in Dobish that's outstanding.
Feeling it, yeah.
Same thing now with Marner in Vegas, where, again, you look at Anderson, Hannafin, Theodore, McNabb, Carter Hart, Ned, where it's just like Mitch is just he knows he can trust the rest of the team, and they're built properly because they hit all 3 layers. And again, this isn't a reflection. We don't have to go back and talk about 10 years of Maple Leafs failure,
right? But
it was so much on the core 4, and they didn't pull their weight in the biggest moments. That hasn't changed,
right?
But no one else could either.
Exactly, like Mitch Marner. Austin Matthews, William Nylander, John Tavares never played with a defense core or a defense/goaltending pairing that Vegas has or Montreal has right now.
It's a great
They never
point.
did in 10 years.
Let me jump in there quickly, because if you look at what you just mentioned, Vegas's D core or the top 4 or top 3 or 4, same thing in Montreal. If we did the whiteboard and said, have at it, Toronto Maple Leafs, if you have the Leafs defense core and Montreal's defense core, where would Morgan Rielly go compared to where Montreal's defensive? He'd probably be the 4th pick or 5th pick.
I think he'd maybe lucky to be 5th pick.
But I'm just, okay.
But that's just the truth, Noodles.
But what I'm saying, same thing in Vegas.
Absolutely.
They've got 3 number 1 defensemen there technically in Theodore, Anderson, and Hannafin.
Yes.
And
McNabb's a really good player.
McNabb's a really good complementary good player. But what I'm saying is, you're right. These defensive core that are big, that can move the puck, and on Montreal's side, you pointed it out. There's a lot of different things that Jeff Gorton's put together there, and Kent Hughes, as far as bring something else to the table. Hudson would be picked first, right? Dobson would be there. Matheson would be there. That's where you're starting.
Yeah, Gooley,
like that's
absolutely.
So that's where the Maple Leafs, if you're going to bring it back, they need to have that type of defensive core to climb back into this.
Yes, exactly. And listen, Colorado's got it when McCarr's healthy.
Right.
And Carolina's defense is really good.
Yes.
It's a big part of it. And, credit to Marner because he keeps playing and, he's getting help. And Dorofeev scores every night. And Eichel had one over the weekend. And Stone is back. And they got a lot of help there.
Yeah.
And he's doing his interviews too, right? Like Mitch is talking every single day. And he had an interesting comment.
Is he ever?
You want to hear this post-game comment when he was asked about them being down 3-0 last night and, why they were in a position where even being down 3-0, they could find a way to come back and win the game last night. Here's Mitch Marner on the kind of mentality in the room in Vegas.
You guys trailed a lot more than you'd like in the regular season. Do you feel like spending time on the wrong side of the score can make you more comfortable in those situations, pay dividends in a game like this?
Maybe in a way, yeah. I think we obviously have an older group as well that just stays patient and stays calm, and we don't turn on each other, we don't get mad at each other. We know everyone's trying to do their best out there every single shift, so that was a talk kind of throughout that intermission. It's just keep doing what we're doing right things, we're getting scoring chances, we're getting looks. If we keep doing that, we'll get rewarded eventually.
Oh, what do you make of it?
We don't get mad at each other. I'm a professional at breaking down that.
Yeah.
That is a direct shot for the grow up, bro. This isn't junior hockey comment on the bench with William Nylander. That's just, I would kind of throw shade like that in little subtle ways too. If I knew I was probably most likely heading to the Stanley Cup Finals, but you know exactly what he's talking about there. And who knows, maybe he wasn't, but it sure sounds like these are grown-ass men on this team, and we don't do that stupid stuff.
Yeah. Now, I think, to be fair, Willie might come back and say the heroics at the bench when you're down 3-0 against Florida That kind of wasn't exactly we all stick up for each other either when Mitch is yelling, wake up and being a hero.
I think they all.
I think it was just bad vibes.
It's bad
in Toronto.
vibes, and they all want to win.
Good vibes in Vegas.
I get it. But, like, you think about it, we got to give flowers to Carolina. Let's keep in mind, this Montreal team put up, what, a dozen shots? 12 shots? Like, what was the shots on goal the other night?
Yeah, it was nothing. Nothing the other night.
Yeah, so, I mean, for me, Carolina, if they've crawled back into this series, which it looks like they did, they were out to lunch in Game 1. Montreal overwhelmed them. Game 2, that looked like Carolina hockey.
Yes, it did. Now, Montreal, I thought it was a typical Montreal effort in a weird way, too, throughout these playoffs, where they've been trailing a lot.
Right.
And they hang around,
and
score
late.
It felt like they were going to score. Now, to the credit of Carolina and credit to Nick Ehlers, who had himself a night.
Yeah.
Carolina, they needed to win that game.
Right.
But I think if you're Montreal, I agree with you. Carolina came a lot. That is what I think we'll see tonight. Yes.
Yeah.
Game 1 was the exception to the rule. They weren't ready to play, and Montreal pounced. But even with Carolina playing the way that they played, Montreal still was. They didn't get blown out.
No, you're right.
They were still
right
in it. And Dobish made some big stops, and
it just. I'm saying I don't know if that's the recipe. If Montreal gets by Carolina, I don't know if you can do that against Vegas. Like you're going to have to play a different game. Now their skill.
All bets are off, man. Look at the Stanley Cup playoffs. Like Carolina. Look what has happened here in terms of Colorado having the season they just had.
Yes.
Right. Boston in 23, the season they had.
Yeah.
Tampa in 19, the season they had. Those are 3 of the best regular seasons of the last 30 years.
Yes.
They're all like Tampa swept in the first round.
Right.
Boston loses to Florida in 23, and now Colorado's probably not going to win. They're going to win 8 games and go home. So I guess my point is the ebbs and flows. Like Utah had Vegas on the ropes in the first round.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter now, but they did. Utah holds on to a couple leads. Vegas went home 3 weeks ago.
You're right.
I'm just saying, I don't know if it's that easy to predict what we're even going to see in the Cup final.
You're right. The one thing I will point out, though, and every Cup champion will tell you, you need bounces and you need health.
For sure.
Because health is the number one that's front and center. If
Vegas gets a long layoff here, Stone's going to be healthy.
Right. But that's your key players, they have to be healthy.
Right.
Because if they're not, you're not going anywhere. That's the one thing that I look at. Because Colorado, if you had Makar in those first 2 games, maybe they win a game.
Yep.
Maybe. And all of a sudden, you're not.
Last night,
different.
still, you're up 3-0. You've got to close that game.
That out.
I don't care if Makar is playing, McKinnon's playing.
God.
You can't lose that game.
You have to win that game. There's just.
Agreed.
You cannot lose that game. And, guys, I just want to take it back to the Maple Leafs for a quick second and point out a couple things that have kind of gotten my attention. I wonder what a William Nylander or an Austin Matthews, like, do you guys think that they're not sitting there looking at Mitch the first year after he decided to pack his bags and go and think, I don't know, maybe it's worth it to explore something else? Wouldn't you think it would be human nature to kind of look into that? And just to touch on the decors that you guys just brought up, whether it be Vegas's, Montreal's, or Carolina's, like if you guys are hinting at Toronto needs to kind of understand that and build their decor out, which they completely do, and I'm talking complete overhaul, the point about that is that takes years. Like I talked to Kevin Adams about his decor that he put together in Buffalo. It was like he had to start there. And if you don't have that, you can't even look at like the star centerman or adding that winger. And you look at that decor in Buffalo too. Pretty damn good. And then at the trade deadline, you could complement and add a 6'4" Stanley or a Luke Shen or a depth guy to complement the pieces that you already have. But it takes years. You can't do it in one offseason. Just my couple thoughts on what you guys have just said.
Yeah, that is valid. I think, on the Matthews point, how can we – it's difficult to read his mind, right? Like, who knows what he's thinking. Obviously, what Mitch Marner did, he made a great decision for his career, in terms of winning and losing. But I also think it needs to be remembered this isn't the equivalent of a Kevin Durant joining Golden State. It's not the equivalent.
No.
But he joined the team that has won more playoff games than any other team in the league for the last decade. He didn't go to San Jose and say, watch, I'm going to start from scratch and prove Toronto was a joke. I'm jumping on with Celebrini, and we're going to build this up, and in 5 years I'm going to win a Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
He joined a team that is...
I think you also have to acknowledge, Hayes, that they wanted him, too. They wanted him.
Yes, totally. Vegas, listen, it speaks to Vegas, and to their credit, they get everything right. Like they are on the verge of a third Cup final in 10 years. It is a remarkable run. Like they're a dynasty. They're like this redefined dynasty over the last decade because, again, they've won the most playoff games than any other team in the league, and they were an expansion team 10 years ago.
Isn't that
It is
crazy?
absolutely phenomenal what they've done, and this is another example with the Tortorella hiring. We're gonna take on Carter Hart. They traded for Hannafin and Anderson in back-to-back years. We're going to take on Eichel. We're going to do this. We're also going to dump a bunch of people. We're going to fire this guy, fire that guy. And Marner's an example of it where they looked at him and said, we're going to take him.
That's our guy.
Because that's going to be our guy, and it's going to work for us. And they were 100% correct. And they're right, and so was Mitch. But my point is, Austin, I don't think he can go to Vegas, right?
Yeah.
Vegas was a special team. Maybe, I don't think Austin's going to Florida. And this, I think, is an example. Look at Colorado. Right, Colorado's they're gonna end up likely with one cup in the McKinnon-Makar era. Maybe they come up with more. Maybe they get back on the saddle next year or the year after.
Right,
but it's trending in a direction of one. I'm not like Florida's not guaranteed anything next year just because they were good in the past. Talk to Edmonton about that this year. It's not guaranteed anything. So yes, I think there is got to be an element of, I don't know if it's jealousy, envy, or just, hey, patting him on the back and saying you made a decision as an adult to leave, which Marner did, and you went to a great place, and you went to an organization that is uber competitive, and they always win, and now you are contributing to that. So to his credit, that's incredible. Not everyone can do that, though.
No.
Like William Nylander can't put his hand up and say, I'll just go to Vegas now. That's not going to happen. And same thing with Austin. Like you go to Utah or San Jose, there's no guarantee you're going to win anything.
But it also shows exactly what you just said. Colorado, we've been talking about Jared Bednar, they're 10 years. John Cooper, longest standing coaches. John Cooper's been out in the first round the last 4 years in a row. Jared Bednar and Colorado has fallen short the last couple of years. Right now they're on the cusp of falling short again. There's no guarantee that anything. You can be the best team on the planet. We've said it. Nobody's beaten that team 4 times. Vegas has beaten them 3 times in a row and saying we're going to push for a 4th tomorrow. Like that's what there's no guarantee on anything. You got to play the games. And you think it's going to get easier next year? They're going to be 84 games next year.
Right.
2 more regular season games. Now, not a condensed schedule, but this McKinnon's body language, he's pissed. Yelling at his teammates.
What do you make of that? Like it just, I don't think it's a good look. I get, but it's petulant, man. It's a little bit over the top. Like,
dude, it's an awful look, man. Yeah, it's an awful look. It's one thing to be a competitor and to demand the most out of your teammates. And I love Nate Dogg more than anybody, but I think I don't know if this ends. I think he has to rethink the way he goes about his business on the ice because, like, as much as I love and respect the guy, the look of him, and it's not hard to find out what goes on there. The yelling at the coach and the yelling at the other players, and he can do no wrong. It looks terrible, and he's got to cut it out. So I think he needs to rethink the way he's doing business out there if they ultimately go out because it looks stupid, and it tarnishes how great of a player he is. Oh,
it's a fine line, though, because if they win, we go, God, that guy's competitive. All he wants to do is win. Like we say it all the time. Like players and coaches that are just wired that way, and if they win and get it done, you go, that's the gold standard. This guy demands it from his teammates, demands it from everybody. If you lose, people are like, what a jerk. Mm-hmm. So it's a fine line between that happy medium of being a great leader, but also being over the top. Right now, I understand the frustration. Now he's not 100%. He's pissed. Nate just didn't hit him with a pass through that neutral zone. You saw the body language on him. He's like, get me the puck.
Yeah. No, but it's like particularly dramatic last night.
Yeah,
when you blow the lead, and I think it was dawning on him, that's it. It's over.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure in Colorado, they were on that bus a few times thinking, we've got a cup waiting for us. Like, we just got to keep cruising here.
Damn right they were.
And they got smacked here quickly. And I would have to believe Jared Bednar is the John Cooper of the West.
100%.
You don't think you think he's 100% secure, no problems?
You don't have a season like that. And they will point to injuries. Again, like McCarr's injury, he didn't look great last night. He actually had a few shifts where he was dominating and dancing, but the rest, his timing was off because he hasn't played in a bit. So to me, you can point to injuries and inconsistencies, but I think the leash gets a little shorter. Like, that's the thing. McKinnon will have, if they lose, that's pretty sad for him. Like, he gets the Olympics and into, it's the McDavid conversation. The difference is McKinnon's won before.
He's got the ring.
Right.
And one of them's likely going to win the Hart, but maybe Kucherov grabs that.
Yeah.
Like, it could be a year Kucherov grabs the Hart and McDavid, McKinnon, both disappointing playoffs, both disappointing Olympic games.
Yeah.
And it's simply not
play
their
the
year.
games. That's
absolutely,
instead of it just being a lock.
Absolutely. All right, Jay's back in action tonight. We're waiting on news on Vladdy, Dylan Cease. They took 2 of 3 over the weekend. They've got the Marlins in town. There's a guy on the mound for the Marlins tonight. His name is Jansen Junk. What a handle for a pitcher, man. Jansen Junk.
That is awesome.
And he is going to throw junk tonight at the Jays. So we'll get into that a little bit later.
Imagine if you were a hot babe marrying that guy. Like, just marrying that guy, and your parents said, well, what name are you taking? And she just floated out. His name's Jackson Junk.
Jensen Junk. Jensen Junk.
Jensen
Jansen Junk. Jansen Junk. Yeah, what a handle that is, man.
So funny.
Here come the Junks. The Junks are they coming to dinner tonight? Yeah, the Junks are going to be here. So they
got junk in the trunk.
They got some junk in the trunk, and they're ready to party tonight.
Yeah.
And the Dome is open, so everyone's excited. Everyone's excited. So that more still to come. OverDrive continues, TSN 1050 and on TSN 3.
Toronto Tempo, Chicago Sky, Wednesday on TSN, CTV2, and Crave.
Now, back to OverDrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
Don't be shy, shy, shy. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. Da 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 da. Da da da. La 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 la. La 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 la.
OverDrive continues, powered by FanDuel, bringing you more ways to play your game your way. We've got Marty Baron coming up. We got Chris Pronger coming up, a bunch of Canadian Hockey League legends.
Yes.
Right? The Memorial Cup continuing out in Kelowna, and we have another Kelowna legend. We had Luke Shen on last week, and now we've got a guy who won a Memorial Cup with the Kelowna Rockets, or I believe he won the WHL championship at least. I guess we can go right to the source. Here's Josh Georges, who's on the staff with the Kelowna Rockets. What's happening, Josh?
Not much. Happy to be here.
Yeah. So what kind of rings are you rocking here? Those look like championship rings. What can you tell us about your WHL career?
I guess, the fact that I was fortunate enough from Kelowna, got to play here for the Kelowna Rockets, my 19-year-old year, hosting the Memorial Cup, to end my junior career, winning it in my hometown, family and everybody here. That was kind of the pinnacle of my junior career for sure, but one of those highlights that I think about, probably one of the biggest moments in my hockey career, even though playing in the NHL. So pretty fortunate to have played here in this great organization, and happy to be back a part of it again now.
So Josh,
like in the Ontario Hockey League, there's sorry, Jamie. It's like there's the London Knights where everybody's kind of. It just seems like everybody wants to end up there. Is this like you see the views here, the way everything is here? Is it like everybody's dying to play for Kelowna because it's just unreal here?
Yeah, probably. But a majority of guys for sure. Like you said, it's a great hockey town, great facilities, great organization. But then you get the city on top of it. Back when we were playing, most of the guys that finished the season stayed here in the summers. You got everything from the lakes to the golf courses, the mountains, pretty special place to be able to live, pretty special place to play for sure.
So, Josh, take us through being a Montreal Canadian and going deep into the playoffs. How electric would that city be?
It's really hard to actually explain and put it into words. Unless you're there and you see it and you feel it, it's amazing. I mean, I remember when I first got traded there, we won round 1. I think we beat Boston in Game 7, and we're coming out of the parking garage, and they told us we had to hang out there for a little while. And I asked one of the security guys what was going on. He said they had to call extra police down. People from outside were trying to break into the Bell Center. They're trying to come into the building. The city downtown had been shut down. And I started asking a few of the other guys, I go, this is only round 1. Like, what happens when you win a Stanley Cup? They just burn this city down or what? Like, and each round you went further. It just got crazier and crazier. And I remember calling all the guys I knew from playing on different teams and junior buddies. I said, if you ever get a chance to play in Montreal, you have to come and see what it's like to play in this city and play for this organization and feel what it's like in the Bell Center for a playoff game. It's pretty remarkable.
Yeah, I mean, the way that they build up kind of the presence of legends and history and the torch and all that kind of stuff. And I don't know who's coming out tonight, but I can imagine it's going to just get bigger and bigger and bigger. But I've seen some reports, from reporters and columnists and stuff that are around the team wondering how crazy the building is before the game. And with the likes of all these legends coming out with the torches, I think it was Larry Robinson came out the last time they played a home game. If it's actually overwhelming the players at all, and I'm curious if you experienced that. I know you said, hey, once you won a round, it was amazing, and after the game was amazing. But is there something to that before the game that it's too crazy, and to actually concentrate and get ready to play, it can have somewhat of an effect on you or a negative effect on you?
I never thought so. I mean, you when you're inside the dressing room and you're kind of getting to that moment, or it's a couple minutes before you're heading out for warm up or you're heading out for the start of the game, you hear a little bit of the buzz, but the doors are closed and it's pretty normal when you're sitting there. But once those doors open up and it's 30 seconds before you start walking onto the ice, you start to hear it. And then when you start walking down the hallway and you can see the fans and the towels and the ice lit up on fire, and that's when you feel it. And you kind of get that 5-10 seconds as you're walking out till you get on the ice, where you get that jitter and nerve feeling. But then once you step on the ice, it just kind of takes over. It's a surreal moment, and then you just go, it's just another hockey game.
What do you think about the Canadian markets? I mean, there's been a lot made of it with Toronto obviously being a big hockey market. You were possibly going to be involved in a possible Toronto thing. Who knows what the actual details of that. But there's a lot of talk now about guys and what it's like dealing with the Canadian markets. You spent a lot of time in Montreal. What are your thoughts on just the comparison and what it's like? And did you enjoy playing in the Canadian market? Because I did too, and I loved it.
I loved every minute of it. I also think, like, maybe for the player that I was suited for playing in the Canadian market because the expectation for me to get points wasn't there.
Yeah.
So there's no.
You think the expectation for points is a big factor in it?
I do.
Yeah.
Because I think any offensive player, and I wasn't one of them, so I'm kind of speaking out of my context here, but they're going to go through a slump at some point in the season. You know, whether it's 2 games, 5 games, 7 games, where things aren't going the way they want. They're not putting up numbers and points. And as soon as that happens, I can only speak for Montreal. They start talking about it. And once they start talking about it in the media, then the fans want to talk about it. Then it becomes like a thing. Now it's an issue. Now the player that's in that position, he starts feeling it. I never had to go through that. You know, like, my expectation was just to go out there and compete and work hard. And that was something that was always within my control. So I always looked at things of, this is fantastic. You know, I go out there and do my thing. And I think the special part about playing in Montreal is they understand hockey. They know. So when you're just doing those little things, they still appreciate that. If you block a shot, you get a puck out on a penalty kill, you make a big hit. Those little things that happen, the fans appreciate that. So I embraced Montreal. I didn't ever feel the heat, the pressure, but I know it's a tough place to play. Having played in San Jose previous to that, I remember, you play the game, you walk outside the rink afterwards, and nobody knows who you are.
That's right.
Inside the arena, unbelievable fans, passionate. They love the game. It's an exciting place to play. And then you leave and you're just another citizen in the city. Well, you go to Montreal, Toronto, Vancouver, any of these cities in Canada, you leave, everybody knows who you are.
Yeah, they care a lot.
They do.
Yeah.
And they want to talk hockey with you, too.
That's right. They love the players. Like, I've just been I'm from Toronto, and I do a show with these two guys every day, and just like everybody knows who you are, and they just want to say hi and they want to talk hockey.
Yeah.
And if you were on their favorite team, they would want you to do well. And if you don't and you stink, they got a problem with it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of fair. I don't know. It seems kind of fair anyway.
I appreciate it. I mean, they're passionate about it. They just want to know what's going on inside the room. Like, hey, what is happening here is, you go through a stretch, you're losing games. When's the coach getting fired?
Yeah.
Those things are above my pay grade. But, no, it makes it fun and exciting for sure.
With Josh Georges, who's an assistant coach with the Kelowna Rockets. And Josh out there in Kelowna, Memorial Cup continuing. I'm sure you've been tracking the playoffs. This Montreal team, they're up against one here with Carolina because Carolina, they're a pretty well-oiled machine, but they're real close to getting to a cup final for the first time in 33 years. How do you handicap the chances of Montreal winning this series, and if they do, their chances of actually winning a Stanley Cup?
I mean, they're definitely in tough. Carolina's a fantastic hockey team, and it's not going to be easy, but it's kind of what Montreal's done all year. When I look at the Canes, and I never got to play for Marty. I met him one time. But just knowing him as a hockey player, how he played the game, his story of undrafted and undersized, and no one ever thought he would do it, and he overcame. And it's almost like he carried that chip on his shoulder. And I look at that whole team, and I feel like they've embodied everything that Marty St. Louis stands for. Is no one gives them a chance, no one thinks they can get it done, and they just keep proving people wrong. Looks like they're having a ton of fun. They're young guys that are just out there playing hockey, and they play with a level of excitement and enthusiasm in the game, and goaltending's been awesome for them. So, I mean, you get a split on the road to start in the East Finals, you come home 1-1, it's right where you'd want to be. They got as good a chance as anybody.
So in terms of your coaching and, that transition and how it's going for, again, you're back in Kelowna, you're from Kelowna, you played for the Rockets, and the idea of it, you guys hosting this tournament, you got TJ Ginla on the team. Like, how is the market kind of embracing this tournament? How do you guys feel about your chances of finding a way to win the Memorial Cup here?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's a fantastic place to play. It's a great organization to be a part of. Bruce Hamilton and the entire Hamilton family. I owe them a lot, almost everything. I mean, I was undrafted in junior, and they gave me an opportunity to come, and that kind of started my whole path to my career. And then even coming back now, hosting again, for them to allow me to be back as a coach and still be a part of the organization and try to help win another Memorial Cup. Like, it's just a fantastic organization. I'm so grateful to be here. And then when it comes to the actual tournament, obviously, down 0-2 to start, we've kind of dug a little bit of a hole for ourselves, but it's not the first time this has happened. We've got a big game coming up in a couple of days, and it's kind of that do or die game. We don't have it tomorrow. So we got to come out and we got to do everything we can to win one game, and then we see where we go from there. So an exciting time, exciting tournament. The city's on fire. They love it. They come out and embrace it, and you see the fan support in the games, and you see it out in the city, walking around the streets. It's electric, just like it was here in 2004 when we were playing. They really get behind the team. So hopefully we can use that as some motivation and get ourselves excited to have a great game against Everett.
Awesome. Good luck tomorrow night. Really appreciate you doing this, Josh. We'll do it again down the road. Thank you.
Thanks.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
There he is, Josh Georges. Little handshake on the way out. So the Memorial Cup continuing. We got a lot going on out there, man. Kitchener's.
I think the weather's nice out there. I thought I saw somebody by the pool. Allegedly.
Yeah, there was a video sent our way earlier today, which I thought was AI, personally.
I thought it was AI. It was something else. I don't know if we're allowed to share it.
I don't see why not.
We might have to check in the break to see if copyright infringement.
Okay, we'll hit a break. We'll come back, and we may have video that could be real, could be AI generated.
I think it's
anything's possible in this world we're living in right now.
What video?
We'll play it when we come back.
Yeah,
you'll see it. You can give us a full breakdown of what you think of this whole operation. Chris Pronger coming up. Marty Baron coming up. We got some Blue Jay news as well, including Dylan Cease on his way to the 15-day IL. So Dylan Cease joining the injured list. It just continues to go in that direction for the Blue Jays. So more on that still to come as well. Overdrive continues, TSN 1050 and on TSN 3.
Now, back to Overdrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
All right, so Jays in action tonight against Jansen Junk and the Marlins. They got to Skeens over the weekend.
They did.
They got to him. And Livy Dunn was not happy when Springer took him deep.
He was pissed.
Livy Dunn was
pissed,
not
man.
happy, man. Like, I think he got chewed out post-game by Livy. Like, she came all the way up to Toronto, and Springer just on an 0-2 count, too, just turned on a ball.
He nailed that.
Yeah, he did. He needed that, too, man. That was a big win. And they won another series, but it cost them Dylan Cease. He left. Yeah, there's Livy Dunn.
She swears twice.
I love that. That's great, man. That's what I'd be looking for, too. Like, she's in the game. She's traveling, too. Whenever he pitches, Livy Dunn is going to be there. But, yeah, Dylan Cease left the game with a hamstring issue yesterday, and he's been placed on the 15-day IL. So
that's concerning because he's a rock star.
God.
yeah, like I have no idea what's up with Max Scherzer, like when we're going to see him again. Cody Ponce is obviously done for the year. Bieber's making some rehab starts. Barrios has had Tommy John. He's gone. Patrick Corbin's been a great pickup. He's this year's Eric Lauer. He's been very good for them, and they've needed that. Savage has been good. Gosman's reliable, and has pitched well. But Cease has been a real bright spot for him, and he never gets injured. That's always the thing with him.
Yeah,
you can give him $210 million. He's going to pitch every fifth day.
That roster, you don't even recognize some of the guys on there.
Well, Vladdy is available to pinch hit tonight or come off the bench, but he's not in the starting lineup. And you look at this lineup; they have 5 guys in the starting lineup tonight that were not on the team last year.
Yeah.
So it's just a completely revamped lineup with Vladdy out, with Kirk out, with Barger out. Now Lucas is back, but as a result, Davis Schneider, unfortunately, because he's been playing so poorly, they've sent him down to AAA. So it's been one of those years, man. It happens quick.
Well,
it happens quick.
At least Bo moving on. He hasn't had the Mitch Marner.
Dude, he is getting crushed in New York by Met fans.
Got 5 home runs, I think, and
buried.
Buried. Like every day you see some meme or some, viral tweet or post on TikTok about how awful Bo Bichette is and who the hell decided to sign this guy. And, it's ugly, man. They're 22-31 down in New York.
Yeah.
All right, so we've got Chris Pronger in about 10 minutes. There is some Leaf news today. We'll get into the Max Domi stuff into the next hour. We've got Marty Baron coming up as well. But you're out there at the Memorial Cup, and we had a video sent to us from a hotel in Kelowna.
Yeah, somebody was concerned.
I think this is AI. I don't believe this is real.
Really?
I think AI. And I think it's actually...
What is this video?
I was told Nate McKinnon needed to work out, so he flew out to...
Here's a video of some guy in the Nate McKinnon...
What is this?
I don't know who that is. But someone's got flippers on, and look at this. That's got to be AI.
That's Nate McKinnon.
I think it's Nate McKinnon.
Guys,
that's the Nate dog.
If you're insinuating that is me doing squats in flip-flops and goggles, that is not me.
I'm not insinuating
anything.
anything.
So if you guys are going to say that that's me, there's people down there. You think I would do that in front of people?
I don't know. But
you guys think I would do that in front of people?
I hope not. But you are. You're a health freak, man.
You're a man of the people.
You're a man of the people, and you're a pillar of health, and you're kind of wired. Like Nathan McKinnon.
Exactly.
Right? You don't really care what other people think.
Taking care of the temple. That's what you were doing.
That's
taking
right.
care of the temple.
What is it, night 4
all
of the
that
Mem
stuff
Cup?
is true. All that stuff is true. Dude, you guys know what I always say. Doogie, put out a poll. and say, do you think this is O-Dog or not? Because that I would not embarrass myself. There's women down there swimming. Do you think I would put all that gear on and do a dive like that? Give me a break. I'm an upstanding citizen.
I think it's AI, or if it's somebody, it couldn't possibly be.
They might do a forensic audit, and that you can zoom
Play
in
it one
on
more
this.
time. I want to see the guy's body, and I'll tell you if that's me. I want to see the guy's body, and I'll tell you if that's me.
Looks a shade under 6 feet.
Yeah.
Dude, that's not me. That's not me. You think I do squats like that?
That's the worst the push-ups ever, too, man. Those are nowhere close to the jet. Cannonball. That guy looks like the principal from
That's
from
not
Billy
me,
Madison.
dude.
Yes, Billy Madison's principal.
Yeah, the principal from Billy Madison at the parties.
Allegedly, that was O-Dog this morning.
That is what somebody told me. That we did a little TMZ, and we paid a pretty penny to get our hands on that video.
That's 50 grand. I'd pay 50 grand for that
50
video.
grand cash for that.
Full-length video of how long he stayed under the water, when he came up. See, there was I don't know. I can't tell if that's O or not. We might have to see if we can zoom in.
O said he's 6'2". That guy doesn't look 6'2".
Physical tattoos? I don't know. I mean, he got rid of
a lot of the tats.
That's exactly right. And that guy's a little bit portly. That little weasel doing those squats and push-ups, a little bit portly.
Yeah.
So let's get our facts straight here.
No shirt on in the pool. That's a big development.
True there, because it
tarps off of the pool.
Where was he when somebody spotted it? Wasn't that like in Belize?
Mexico?
Mexico or something.
Yeah,
like
that is a significant
that was fake
development
news too.
Well, I refuse to be misled, and we'll get our money back if we have to. You break that down in the break for us, and if we need to get our money back, we will do that.
Exactly.
Because we will not accept fake news.
Who's our next guest? Is it Prongs?
Yeah,
is Prongs coming up at 5 o'clock?
Yes, Chris Pronger.
Ask him. You ask him. You say you think this is O-Dog or not, and let him decide.
Okay, Pronger will be the deciding vote.
Exactly.
All right?
It can be that.
Prong's coming up. We got Marty Baron coming up. Best Bets Jays in action again tonight. The NBA playoffs continuing. The Knicks are on. They're pulling to Vegas, man. The Knicks are going back to the NBA Finals. It's pretty crazy stuff down in New York. So that and more still to come in Hour 2. Overdrive continues up on YouTube Live.
Toronto Tempo, Chicago Sky, Wednesday on TSN, CTV2, and Crave.
This is Overdrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog on TSN 1050.
Hour 2 Overdrive continues, powered by FanDuel. Brian Hayes, O-Dog, Jeff O'Neill, Jamie Noodles McLennan. We got Chris Pronger coming up. We got Marty Barano will be in studio.
Yeah.
Game 3, Habs, Carolina tonight. Jays in action tonight as well with Miami in town. And Dylan Cease on his way to the 15-day IL with a hamstring issue in New York tonight. If they sweep, it'll be bedlam around the Garden. Like so many Knick fans go down to the Garden, and it's right in Midtown Manhattan. It'll be mental, crazy. And, San Antonio won last night, so that's big. That's 2-2 going back to Oklahoma City. I think that could go 7 games. The Knicks could be sitting there for 2 weeks waiting to play.
Get healthy, relax, enjoy yourself.
Exactly. Them in Vegas.
Let me ask you this, though, Hazy. Do you think when the Knicks get to the finals, they have a chance with OKC or San Antonio?
They will be a big underdog. I don't think they're going to beat either of those teams. I think they could beat San Antonio. San Antonio's still young. They're dealing with some injury problems. And so is Oklahoma City. OKC's just an engine, man. Yeah. And they've been there. They've done it. They'll have home court. They've won. That one would concern me. But if it's San Antonio, Wemby versus the Knicks would be crazy in an NBA Finals.
Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy. And I listen, the Knicks are a really good team. They defend really well. Brunson's got that clutch gene.
Yep.
So the Knicks are in a really good place. They're an underdog, but it won't be that significant.
Hang on a sec. I got to ask you something, Hazy. Mm-hmm. You don't think Shea at the Garden kind of hits like Wemby at the Garden? You don't think Shea has that kind of street cred to be like Shea's at the Garden? You kind of said Wemby there.
Yeah.
And I found it a little offensive.
No, you're right. I didn't really mean it that way. I guess what I was driving at was the fact that it would be Wemby's first NBA Finals. And as much as Shea has won back-to-back MVPs, there's this different aura of Wembanyama, like because of his size, because of the way he plays the game, and an understanding and belief that there's a chance he's chasing like GOAT status in 10 years. Where I don't think Shea is not going to get to the level of LeBron, Jordan, Kobe, those kind of guys. But you're right. Shea will get people buzzing, man. He definitely does. 2-time MVP. He absolutely. He deserves that respect, 100%. So I wasn't taking a shot at Shea. I was just speaking more to the fact that it would be new for San Antonio.
Yeah.
And Wemby making the NBA Finals and playing against New York, really, really significant. But I'm pulling for Shea. I'm pulling for the Thunder on that front. But yeah, we're going to see possibly Montreal, New York, both in a final in mid-June. Weather turning. That will be electric.
It's funny how things change, though, guys. Like, Montreal wins that first game against Carolina, and you're like, oh, Carolina, they're overwhelmed them, not sure. Rod Brindamore's going, never seen that before, never seen, defending like that, you name it. And then Carolina wins. And it's like, oh, that's Carolina. Mm-hmm. I could see Carolina winning that series.
Yes, absolutely.
Just like you could see Montreal winning that series. I think it's a coin flip, but tonight will be pivotal. Dobish is 6-0 after losing a game in the playoffs. So does he just make it 7-0? Is it foregone conclusion, or is Carolina going to go in there and they've got their mojo back and going to play that tight game?
And what does Freddie look like tonight?
That's fair.
That's another thing. What does Freddie Anderson play like tonight? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I really don't have a great read on what Freddie Anderson looks like. Chris Pronger coming up here in a moment. The Leafs kind of out of nowhere today issued a statement that Max Domi, I guess, had surgery recently. No details on what the surgery was on. Like, don't know what the injury is, but that there was a complication that came from it, and now he's out indefinitely, which I find the wording of that a little bit curious, considering they're not going to play a game for 5 months.
Yeah.
So out indefinitely.
Like
for what, in June, in July? Exactly. I don't know. And there was really no details to it other than that. Had a procedure. It was a complication. He's out indefinitely.
That, I don't know how you feel about it. My first instinct was that, did it have a Robida Island type of feel, or did it just be like, hey, that doesn't sound like he'll be back in September. That sounds like he's going to start the season on LTIR. So they're going to get cap relief off his deal.
It sounds, Jamie, like there was just some kind of procedure on whether it be his shoulder, his ankle, something. And then there was some complication where it was like it was worse than originally thought. And I think when you go to the point, like, you have to make that statement. And I don't know the rules about injuries or listing what happens to guys after surgeries, fellas, but when you say that he's going to be out indefinitely, it sure as hell sounds like he's not playing hockey next year or something, or he's not going to be at training camp, or he's not starting the team with the Leafs. It's a weird announcement to make, even if it is factual and you kind of have to do it. It's like, it's not even June, and you're saying out indefinitely. It's weird stuff. So I don't know. I don't know what the details are behind that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't think it's Robida Island, but it's definitely weird that out indefinitely in May. It's got a weird feel to it. It sounds weird.
First and foremost, you hope that he's okay.
Yes,
complications anytime that concerns you. That's should be accepted. Like that, you're not going down that road. But it's more about, you're just concerned about what does his future look like. The word indefinite is very concerning. That's what's concerning.
Without any details on, this is maybe just how the Leafs operate. Maybe that was Max's decision. I don't know.
Right.
But generally speaking, when you have a surgery, because it said in the statement he addressed an issue he played through during the season. He played 80 games this year. He missed 2 games. I wasn't aware of anything significant that was lingering.
Right.
Why can't you announce what the surgery was if you're not playing for 5 months, 6 months? I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, hopefully, obviously, you hope he's okay, and you hope everything's going to be okay in terms of just him living his life. But I think the fact that this news is out there and the indefinite part does make you question: does that $3.75 million become available on July 1st?
Right.
Like, do they know that's going to long-term IR? And with the rules being what they are now, you can't just come back in the playoffs.
Right.
You know, if they make the playoffs. But are you out for the year? Are you out for a couple months? Are you gonna? We don't know. And maybe the Leafs aren't aware of it yet. But it's an interesting scenario where Max Domi played a lot of hockey last year and was in the top 6 a lot.
Gives you a
season.
lot of financial flexibility. It adds to that. So
and changes your roster a little bit, right? Like if Max was going to return, Max not playing 8 minutes a night. Like he's been playing a lot for this team.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see if we get more details on that as we get closer to July 1st. All right, Marty Baron coming up a little bit later in the hour. Jays in action tonight. And Game 3, Habs, Carolina at the Bell Center. Let's bring in Hockey Hall of Famer, one of the great Peterborough Petes of all time.
Oh, yeah.
Here's Chris Pronger joining us here on the Maple Toyota Hotline. What's happening, Chris?
Much. How you guys doing?
Oh, we're doing pretty well. Do you wear that title with pride, one of the great Peterborough Petes of all time?
I do wear that with pride. My first captain was O-Dog's brother.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
I love it. I love it. Well, the Doggers out at the Memorial Cup right now. Yeah. So there you go.
He's living the high life out in Kelowna, I hear.
And Prongs, we need verification from you because we thought we saw Jeff O'Neill / Nate McKinnon by the pool today. Can you verify who this is swimming by the pool?
Break that down for us, Prong. Prongs, give us the full breakdown.
Do you think this is me? Yes or no?
I'd be doing push-ups like that with your flippers on. And that was a beautiful dive you just took.
10 out of 10, the dive.
No, why?
Yeah.
That's him.
Oh, absolutely.
I thought it was AI there for a bit, but the more I watch it, the more I think this is actually him. That's him at the pool in Kelowna, just putting on a clinic, basically.
He's got more Michael Phelps in him than that.
Yes, he does.
Guys, I'll come clean, okay? That was me, but I want to know who's the creepazoid that took that video and sent it to you.
It was
because that's
security.
my private workout I do by the pool, and some creep in their hotel room on their balcony is taking a video like that.
Security was concerned.
It was the same guy that caught Diana Rossini and Mike Vrabel. We hired that guy because we're like, we're catching word that the O-Dog's up to something out at that pool in Kelowna, and it was worth every single penny. Every single penny. Anyway, Prongs, I'm glad you were subjected to that because the three of us were subjected to it last hour. Carolina, Montreal tonight. Where do you? How much can you take from the first 2 games in terms of trying to predict how tonight is going to play out?
I don't think anything Montreal has done has been predictable. The way that they've been all over the map, but I do think now getting into the conference finals, the element and the energy in the Bell Center, I'm not sure that the Caniacs have felt anything like that yet. So that'll be the X factor, I think, in this game on both sides. You know, does that energy amp up the Canadians, and does it affect their play in a good way or a bad way? And I think keeping your emotions in check, you know, obviously, as we've seen all playoffs long and all season long with Marty St. Louis, he's done an excellent job of making sure his guys are prepared. I do think they're going to need to get more shot attempts and more shots on net than they've gotten, especially last game. A lot of, if you look at games where teams struggle against the Carolina Hurricanes, you see them constantly flipping the puck out to just buy time and take away the pressure. But it actually feeds into the Hurricane system, and they just start attacking wave after wave until they ultimately get to you.
So, Prongs, you know, we've looked at the playoffs so far. Let's talk about Carolina, Montreal, and dig deeper into it. Is it as simple as Montreal is a young team? They've got skill. They've got mobility in the back end. To break that Carolina system, do they have to skate through the neutral zone? Is it more puck possession? Like, how do you break Carolina, that team that's so disciplined and is so tight systematically?
They have to be able to handle the pressure in a way that they can make plays. They have to be able to transition and exit the defensive zone through the neutral zone with puck possession so that they're then dumping with a purpose, able to forecheck properly, apply their own pressure, which frankly Carolina doesn't handle very well because they're not used to it. because they're used to always being on the attack and always being the aggressor. And so if you're able to, in the games where I saw Carolina struggle the most is when they weren't able to just consistently apply pressure and force the opposition into uncomfortable situations. And so it'll be imperative for the puck movers on the back end for the Montreal Canadiens, the Dobsons, Matheson, Hudson, those guys to be able to, use their feet to create passing lanes or get out of trouble, and then make quick transition plays to, you want to come low and be very supportive from your forwards and centermen so that you're able to then come up with speed in 5-man units and not get stretched out, which then the Carolina Hurricanes attack from.
Prongs, what is your take on the Colorado Avalanche, how they've just gone up in smoke here? It seems like, I don't know, it's almost looks like something happened inside the locker room or something for them to implode like that. I understand Makar, how good he is, how important he is, him not being available a couple games, but I had them winning the Stanley Cup, and I didn't give many teams a chance of giving them any kind of fight back. One was the Carolina Hurricanes, but I thought it was a foregone conclusion they've lost. And a follow-up to that is Nathan MacKinnon looks pretty pissy on the ice, and I'm wondering what your thoughts are on that. You were a fiery guy. You held your teammates accountable, but there's a way to go about it. Just your whole take on everything that's gone on there.
Yeah, I've been, this year I've been fortunate enough to be in Denver a few times where they've played really, really well and also really, really bad. And they're not overly tight defensively. And they take a lot of chances. They take a lot of risks. They play very loose. They're not structurally sound that you need to be in the playoffs. And if you look at, their LA series was really tight, albeit they won 4 games in a row, but they were tight games. And then their most recent series against the Wild, they got a lot of leads. They were just attacking, and Minnesota kind of played in their hands the way they were trying to run and gun with them. And now you got Vegas, pretty structurally sound, play well defensively, and they force Colorado to make a lot of mistakes, and then they attack and find seams, and they play a little soft at times and make some high risk plays and mistakes. So, and their goaltending has always been a question mark. They've rolled them out, and it's always been, are they going to hold up under pressure at the biggest moment? And right now they have not been able to do that. So I think that there's a couple of different things, but I would say from a defensive standpoint, that's been a huge question mark for me. And now scoring goals, they've gone cold for the most part in this series. And then, with respect to MacKinnon, I think we saw a lot of that at the Olympics and now throughout the last number of years. He, like McDavid, they put a lot of pressure on themselves, and therefore they put a lot of pressure, him especially, put a lot of pressure on their teammates to execute and get him the puck in exact moments when he's hitting seams with speed and whatnot. And you can see with the bad body language and things like that, it might start to rub his teammates the wrong way.
Well, we played a clip earlier of Mitch Marner, speaking about that after the game, that, no one on Vegas gets down on each other. They're all supportive. And naturally, our instincts went to, okay, was this about his Leaf tenure?
Right.
Which I think there could be some of that. But do you think there's a chance he was talking about the Avs? Like, do you think Vegas is looking over at Colorado and they just know they've got this team?
I don't know if you want to give any bulletin board material. I think players are smart enough to want to poke the bear, if you will, as much as, maybe we might think it's that. I think as players, we see little things happening. We see, you might not see it from the TV and you might not see it, but when you're on the ice, you can hear the opposition talking, screaming, yelling. You can see body language. I think when you start to see that body language, it gives you a lot of confidence because you're starting to get to them. You're really kind of grinding on them and putting them in uncomfortable situations and situations that they don't like, and so you want to feed into that and really kind of start going at them when you start to see that.
So Prongs, You talk about this Vegas team, and we've been talking about it all last week. They make no apologies for anything. I mean, this is about winning, and that's it. Doesn't matter. Marc-Andre Fleury, you got to go. Marchessault, you got to go. Cassidy, you're fired, 8 games left. Carter Hart around him, they sign him. It doesn't matter. They care about winning. Is that, something that other teams should be, or other organizations should be looking at and say, in the end, you're trying to win. Do you think there should be pressure from ownership on other organizations to say, how come they can do that in the last 10 years? They're on the cusp of making their 3rd cup final in the last 10 years since they come into the league. There's organizations trying to do that in the last 20, 30 years.
60.
60. Okay, 60.
Not that we're counting. Go ahead, Prongs.
Well, I think the biggest thing now that we can take away from this is that there should be no loyalty on either side. If we're all about winning and we're all about, trying to win championships and all the rest of that, when you go to the Vegas Golden Knights, you know what you're going there to do. And if you're not able to accomplish it, you will find your way on the way out, or you're either going to be done. They're going to figure out a way to get rid of you one way or another. And so, whether you're the coach, whether you're a player, they've moved on from, people in the front office too. And so, I think, at the end of the day, they've got an edict from the owner. We are here to win championships. We're here to win and excel and be a championship caliber team year in, year out, regardless of what circumstances you may tell me about. You need to go fix this. I'm paying you to do a job. Go do it. Likewise with the players, we're paying you to do a job. Go do it and execute at the highest level. Coaching staff, same thing. So when that starts at the top, which as we know, everything does, and it starts to come down the pyramid, if you will, guys understand what they're getting into. If they don't, they certainly do now. And they know what the expectation is. They want to get the most out of you every second they can. And when they see a depreciating asset, they are going to get rid of you as fast as humanly possible and get the most for you so they can move on to the next and try to continue to win.
Yeah, it's incredible. I think, we said earlier, John Tortorella just feels like he's in the perfect position. Like a small dose of Tortorella can go a long way. And that's pretty much what they've perfected here, right? He comes in 8 games before the playoffs start. Like, it's just everything he's saying, it feels like they're listening to it, right? Like, no, there's no tuning out John Tortorella right now.
Well, not only that, but if you look at their season, they very much underperformed. They had stretches where they looked like they were coming together. The addition of Marner, they were trying to figure out line combinations and how they were going to, play on a night-to-night basis. They had a ton of ties. They really, it looked like they were having a hard time finding themselves. And I don't know if that was the strife with the coach, what have you, but you can see how he's come in there. He's kind of taken, it seems like the firing has kind of taken a little pressure off the team, allowed them probably to free up a little bit. And he's certainly getting the most out of every single player on that roster.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
Crazy.
Prongs, we haven't asked you this on this show, but we understand you met with Toronto. Like, how was that experience? Do you want to just say how it went or what it was like, or just your experience with the whole thing?
Yeah, no, I met with Neil Glassberg and Keith Pelly for a couple hours and just talked about, getting to know one another first. I'd never met Keith Pelly, so I just got to know him. I met Neil Glassberg a few times before that. And, just had a good, frank conversation about the team, about the direction, of my thoughts on what they needed, both in the front office and on the ice with respect to the players. And, I got good feedback on my conversation with them, but they were going in a different direction.
They couldn't afford him. Just say that. Just say that.
That may have been an issue, too.
Yeah, that could actually factor in sometimes. Well, I mean, what we've been talking about with these 4 teams remaining is how good their defense is. Vegas, their defense is playing really well. Montreal's loaded, and they look like they're set up for a long time. I'd have to believe in that conversation you probably looked at the Leaf defense and said, this just isn't going to work, right, Chris? And
yeah.
How do you turn this over, though? Like, this is the question. How much is reasonable in one off season for the defense in particular to look different in Toronto?
Well, that's going to be the difficult thing is when you have no move clauses and limited no trade clauses and all the rest of that, you have to find the perfect fit. And so, you're going to do a lot of beating the drum and I'm making a lot of phone calls, trying to find a fit, trying to see what coming back, is that going to be a fit? It's one thing to move off a player, but what is coming back? You still got to fill holes and what are you able to get? And so, that'll be the interesting part. They've got to get faster on the back end. They've got to get more puck movers. If you want to play a up-tempo offensive game, you've got to have defensemen that can transition the puck and get it up the ice quick, get retrievals quicker, and that a lot of it has to do with the goalie defense interaction. Where to go? Are they playing the puck? Are they not? All the rest of that. There's a lot that kind of goes into the nuance of the transition game, but some of that comes from how they play defensively too, and where pucks are left, where they get stops and turnovers and things of that nature, and then how they then flip it around from there.
Well, we'll see what comes of it tonight in Montreal. It's going to be a fun one, man, and it feels like Vegas is just going to be sitting there with their feet up waiting now. But Habs Carolina, one of them's got the chance to knock out Vegas potentially in a Cup final. Great catching up with you, Chris. We always appreciate you doing this.
You bet. Don't count out Colorado yet, boys.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, that's
We've
the
seen
first
a few
time I've heard
3-0 comebacks.
Yeah,
I happen to be
that.
a part of one of them.
Yes,
in
right?
Philly. Where was that? In Philly or?
Yeah. You're on the right side of it
Philly.
against Boston, right?
Yeah.
So let me ask you quickly.
So, you never know.
In Philly, when you were down 3 Cobb, would you argue that maybe some of your teammates were on Expedia, taking a peek, going, could be in Bahamas next week, or did you guys believe, like, we got it, we can make this happen?
We 1,000% believed we were the better team and we could beat them. And we lost 2 games that were really close. They could have went either way. We lost another one that was, a 2-goal game that, was still a really close game. We felt like we were right there. We just needed a bounce. We needed a break to go our way. And once we won game 4 in overtime, then we went in and beat them in game 5 in Boston, came back, won in Philly. And then, at least to get a shot at game 7 was, we were playing with house money, and then, went down early 3-0. And I'm sure everybody had us written off. And, we got one late in the first period to make it 3-1, and that kind of gave us confidence. And then, we started to tilt the ice a little bit and really started to take advantage of some of the, the matchups that we had. And ultimately got a late power play goal by Simon Gagner, and that was it. Comeback, finished, complete.
See, Prong?
Love it.
Prongs, rich guys like you don't even need Expedia. You just get the private bird and you go somewhere. So it's not like anybody could find out if you had Expedia on the computer or not.
Maybe.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Get the private assistant to do it anyway. Get the assistant to look that kind of stuff up. You don't waste time with that. All right, Prongs, thank you for doing this.
All right, guys. Have fun. Enjoy the game.
You got it, Chris Pronger. Cup champ, Hall of Famer, joining us here on the Maple Toyota Hotline. Red Tag Days are here. Check out the Toyota Tacoma and Toyota Tundra pickup trucks, both available as hybrids. Visit Maple Toyota near Canada's Wonderland in the Maple Auto Mall.
So I thought that. We're writing off Colorado. Is there any chance in your mind
I think they're done.
You think they're done like dinner?
I think they're cooked.
Oh, do you think they're done like dinner?
Absolutely. They might, you heard it in the coach's voice after. He's like, everyone's kind of down. You could tell by I had never heard his tone of voice like that. He knows. They will get squashed the next game. And there will probably be some guys on the Avalanche that won't make the flight home.
Yes, the old stay in Vegas. That's actually not a bad place to lose. But, unless Blackwood's just got to be perfect for 3 games.
Yeah.
And then you get some, or at least 1 or 2, and get some momentum going.
Yeah.
But I'm with you. Bednar after the game talking about them being down in the dumps and stuff, not a good look.
This is the first bit of adversity.
I've never heard that before.
Yeah. They haven't faced any adversity.
This is the first bit of adversity they've had, and they're, obviously not handling it well. The injuries have piled up.
McKinnon's banged up.
It doesn't look great.
No, it's not good.
Yeah.
And furthermore, Vegas is a really good team that's playing very well.
Yeah.
So they're uber confident. Even if Colorado wins game 4, which they might, still, I think Vegas just recalibrates and finds a way to win.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would be shocked if Colorado got back in that series. All right, Marty Baron coming up. Diss or data. A little bit of diss, a little bit of dat. With Marty Baron coming up. Best bets still to come as well. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and up on YouTube Live.
This passion is real. The Memorial Cup, the Canadian Hockey League's ultimate prize, is on the line. As league champions clash. Could be the dagger. The 2026 Memorial Cup, presented by Kubota, continues on TSN.
I told you long ago on the road, I got what they waiting for. Don't run from nothing, dog. Get your soul. Just tell them ain't laying low.
All right, best bets coming up later in the hour. Jays, Marlins tonight. Dylan Cease on the 15-day IL. Get the Knicks with a chance to go to the NBA Finals tonight. You can have Vegas having a chance to go to the Stanley Cup Final tomorrow night. But we've got Habs, Carolina this evening. And there's our main man, Marty Baron.
Mon ami.
Salut! Salut!
I almost forgot my tie, and I'm like, that's okay. O-Dog's room is right there.
Yeah.
I can go in there and grab a tie, but you probably took all the good ones with you out there.
Yeah, you're right. And there's other people that take things in there. I'm not going to name names, and they don't put them back. So hopefully you're not one of those guys.
No, Darren Drager had a nice tie on the other night.
Did he?
It was from an O-Dog.
100%. It was an O-Dog tie. Right off the floor.
Did you go?
Pick it up off the floor and strap it on.
Once in a while, I guess.
Marty, let me just tell you. I had some secondary nice ties, okay?
Yep.
Secondary nice ties. And I gave them to that grubby pig sitting beside you. And you know what he did? He went right to his house and opened his trunk and threw them all in a dumpster bin. So that's the kind of respect that he has for nice stuff.
Not before.
Not true, though.
He wore one of them on Jay's show, and he looked like Ronald McDonald. It was touching the ground.
It was
went all the
such
way
a
down.
bad time.
I have some really bad ones that are still very wide, and the wide thing is not good anymore. But I'm like, one of those days it's going to come back, so I'm just keeping them.
Yeah. Well, that's what this guy wanted me to store his ties. Because he calls me 6 months later and goes, I need that tie back.
No.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't have the tie anymore. It was a garbage tie. It was because a bunch of them were brutal, and he just threw them at me like he was doing me some great service.
I don't know if you guys remember. Remember, if you go to New York City, the people that busk on the side of the road, like on the street, you can buy a tie for like $1. So Brett Hull bought a giant box of them and gave them to Roger Nielsen, the assistant coach.
Yeah.
Roger wore a different one every day. He loved them.
Yeah.
But like he bought it as a joke. Like I think Holly gave the guy like $200. Give me the box. Gave it to Roger. Roger wore a different one every day.
Unreal.
It was awesome.
Why not?
It was awesome. Why not?
How would you know, right?
How would you know? And then Roger would get dressed up for his video session because he needed his video session. He would look good doing it. So
he was the original video session guy, right?
Captain Video.
Absolutely.
Captain Video.
Yeah.
That's all he was. Good guy, but very soft-spoken. You can imagine how Holly was with him. Just worked him over.
Harry Neal has a great story because Harry Neal was the coach in Vancouver. And then he got suspended for hitting a fan in Quebec City. A fan went over the glass and hit one of his players. So he went off the bench and punched the fan, and he got suspended at the end of the year. Well, Roger took over as head coach, and then in the playoffs, Harry was like, he's much better than I am. So Harry went into TV and radio, and Roger became the coach of the Canucks.
No way.
That's crazy.
Yeah, because of the suspension, him and a fan.
I love it.
So, yeah.
Well,
awesome.
I think Roger Nielsen was the one that Harold Ballard fired and then brought back for like the next game or something like that. Yeah, there's some story there when he was in Toronto.
There has to be, and you would know this, you grew up here, but like there has to be some, I'm sure there's books out there.
The Ballard years.
Ballard years and like
crazy.
some of the things that he pulled.
Yeah, there was some wild stuff, man. Because those are that's kind of the way it used to be in some ways when you had a solo owner. And it wasn't run the way it's run. There's no commissioner or anything
Just
like that.
erratic,
Because
right?
you're fired, and then the next day I actually come back.
The Jacobs in Boston, Wirtz in Chicago.
They're just
wouldn't put
massive.
wouldn't put the home games on TV. Imagine that. You're
Crazy.
the Blackhawks fan in the 80s and 90s, and the home games aren't on TV.
Yeah.
Like because no, people won't go to the games if they're on TV. Like,
Right.
that's crazy to think.
It's such a different world now. Like it is such a different world. Well, how are we feeling about tonight, Marty? Like, what are you thinking, man? Carolina, Montreal, what's your lean here going into game
If
3?
you don't think the Canadians are able to bounce back, you haven't watched the Canadians all season long. That's what they've been doing now for pretty much 2 years. Like they're being told you're not in the same category. Boom, they bounce back. Tampa is going to eat you alive, and boom, they win Game 7 with only 9 shots. Buffalo's the same thing. They lose Game 1 in Buffalo. They just turned it around. They lose Game 6, 8-3.
Yeah.
And then come out like just shooting Game 7. So for me, I think Montreal is going to have a great game because they always bounce back. I just feel like Carolina's got a little bit more pace right now than Buffalo or Tampa had, and that's giving Montreal a little bit of a tough time. But they're going to have I think Montreal's going to have a great game. It's just a matter of if they can beat Carolina or not.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I fully expect Dobish to play well tonight.
Yep.
Based on his record and his history, like coming off losses, obviously he plays very well. But I'm curious how they react to the crowd. We had Josh Georges on last hour. Like, it's going to be so crazy there tonight.
Yeah, unreal.
It's just going to be bedlam. I don't know who they're bringing out with the torch and all that.
Probably going to be Chelly, right? You guys
think it's Chelios?
Well, he was at the Grand Prix this weekend. Like, that makes sense to say you're sticking around for a couple of days and we're going to have you do the
well, because he won a cup in
torch.
'86 with them.
Yeah.
Because that's
he's got to watch himself.
he may not make it. Now, where is this guy? They got
He's
to
late. He's late.
Yeah, they got to send someone else out. But it's.
Dog, you played against Chelly, right? Like, what was that like? Like, he's a legend in Chicago, but before that in Montreal, like, was he like cross-checking, punching the back of the head type of guy, or?
Well, that was the one thing that I noticed about players like himself, Raymond Bourque, Chris Pronger. Everybody sees like the goals and the assists, but the one thing that stuck out of my mind playing against all these elite defensemen was the competitiveness. Like if you went in the corner with Chris Chelios or any of those guys I just mentioned, and it was almost the best thing for me as a young guy because it's not you're going in there and I'm going to see. If you go in there with the attitude or approach, I'm just going to see what happens. They're taking the puck every time. So you got to go in there with your best stuff. They're hard to hit. You could try. Like you always say, and back in those days, like you could crush Chris Chelios. You could lay out Nick Lidstrom. You could hit Chris Pronger. No one's going to like grab you and beat the piss out of you like what happens nowadays. But that's the one thing, Marty, that stuck out with Chris Chelios is the competitiveness along with the smarts. And that's ultimately a big factor in what makes them elite. They know where the puck is going. Do you know how many times Chris Chelios or Nick Lidstrom or Prongs would sniff out like a lazy forward that was just going to be rolling it behind them to start a cycle, and they'd just be standing on the wall waiting for the puck because they knew the dummy was going to do that, and it was so easy for them to get it out. Like, that's what they did all the time. They sniffed out cycles. They knew what the forwards were thinking, and they're ultra competitive. Like, you had to battle every time in front of the net. And if you took the puck off them, you got a problem on your hands. You're going to get a cross-check, a slash. It was just these guys, for some reason, they never let anything go. It was like they wouldn't say, oh, I'm just going to give that guy a hall pass this one time. I'm not going to cross-check him. I'm not going to slash him. It was every single time, and it's a big part of why they were all great.
Remember Brian Prop? Like, Extall went after Chelios in the corner, and the warm-up scene. Mike Keenan has a great story about Extall and that warm-up scene as, like, they had come off the ice, and then Pooley was there.
Pooley was the captain of the team.
And there's guys in flip-flops and, like, shower shoes and bear socks on the ice. And there used to be a cage at the old Forum that separated the locker room and the ice and the fans. And Keenan shut the cage on Extall and was like, sorry, dude, you're not going out there. Like, he literally, like, put him on the other side of the cage so he wouldn't go out on the ice and warm up. Like, that's crazy.
It's on YouTube. You can find that video. It's a crazy video. Because it was it Claude Lemieux that was doing it?
Yeah.
I think it was Lemieux, and Shane Corson, I know, was right in the middle of a lot of it.
The thing is it's
Chico,
a while ago.
Chico Resch got on the ice.
It's a while ago, but not that long ago.
86. It's 40 years ago.
Yeah, I guess.
Which is a long time now.
That is a long time. And life has changed.
But Pooley, tells the story where him and Bob Gainey were the two captains, I believe, and they were out there like no gear, talking like, what are we going to do here? How are we going to start? Yeah, because
no refs,
no anything, just brawls going on. I think Dave Brown was in the middle of it too.
Oh yeah,
was it Brown who was chasing?
He had no jersey on. He had the light blue, undergarment.
Stanfield underwear. That's
That
what
was
it
like you got to the
Stanfield
NHL and you got that. You're like, I made it.
You were an
made
NHL player when you got Stanfield underwear.
Yeah.
The dark blue trim and the light blue.
Take it home with you. You wear it in the summer because you'd be a big shot. Like that was the NHL, and you were lucky if you had the team name on it.
That's when you know
you
you're.
had the team name on the stand or the logo or something. That's when you knew you made it.
Yeah.
Kinda
No,
cool.
you're right. That was back in Cup final in '86, was it? I guess.
Well,
or
that was
conference
before
final.
conference finals, and then maybe that happened in '87 as well.
Maybe '87, because I remember Corson on it. I don't think Corson was there in '86, but he was one of the 2 or 3 guys that were out there when all hell broke loose.
It was '87 that Philly
lost
ended up
to-
in the final.
They lost to Edmonton in the final. Hexie got the Conn Smythe.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that might be it.
Yeah.
Now, as for Vegas and Colorado, I mean, where does your head go here first? Like the fact that Vegas is up 3-0, or the fact that Colorado's down 0-3?
The fact that Colorado only has scored 6 goals. Like, I mean, they're a scoring machine. They were averaging over 4 goals a game in the first 9 games. I mean, obviously you play lesser competition, but man, like I played for Torts with the Rangers, and I'm watching Vegas and their defensive zone and their quadrants, right? It's like you could put 4 quadrants on the ice, and everybody's got their zone. Everybody's defending there. The centers got to be doing a little bit of everything, but they stay to their structure and they're defending. They're down 3-0, and they don't open it up.
Anything.
They didn't change. They're like, you know what? No, we are going to get back by defending. And now Colorado, maybe Shea Theodore should have the MVP because he took that shot at McKinnon, and then it just sank Colorado after that. But it was a totally different second half of the game, and it's all about defending.
Something to chew on, brought to you by Boston Pizza. This playoffs, BP is summoning the hockey gods to tilt the ice in Canada's favor. Join us and feast like a hockey god on our new playoff menu. See it from Puck Drop at your local BP. Is this a choke for Colorado? Yes or no? And then expand on that.
I think the last game, Game 3, was a choke. You're up 3-0. You got an absolute gift of a bounce when they waved off the goal by, what was it, Barbashev or Dorofeev?
Dorofeev.
Well, his hand. I mean, he did punch it in.
I get the rule. The rule says if you bat and redirect off a glove, even though it goes off a stick, it's not. I think it may have been over the crossbar too, which they didn't get to that. So whatever. But then they get the shorthanded goal. They're up 3-0, and you give up. Like the first thing you got to do is say, guys, we got to get a big kill here. They give up that power play goal early in the second, and it's like, okay, it could get a little ugly. So I think Game 3 was a choke. Overall, I don't think it's a choke right now because Vegas is playing really well, and Carter Hart is playing really good in net, and they're not 100%. McCarr's not 100%. Now McKinnon's not. But so I think Game 3 was a choke. But overall for the series, even if it was 2-1, like Vegas still has that.
Yeah.
Marty, what do you think of this philosophy? And some have it and some don't. And I know you and Jamie are both goaltenders. And Brian Hayes and I, usually when you guys are not around, we start ripping goaltenders and talking about stuff that we shouldn't be. But what do you think of this philosophy? And both of you can chime in. I understand you need tandems sometimes because not everybody can have a Shesterkin. But here's the philosophy. If you have 2 goaltenders in the playoffs, you probably don't have one. Yeah. I'd like both of your thoughts on that statement.
I agree with you, O-Dog. I'm a one guy. Look, I get that 50 games in the season, 55 maybe. It's getting to be the norm, and you don't get to 60 or 70 games. That's not going to happen. But you need to have a clear-cut guy when you get to the playoffs. And, Buffalo didn't have it, and it showed in the second round against Montreal. Yeah. Now Colorado, they go Blackwood, and you're like, you got to win 4 in a row. Like, nah, that's not going to happen. There's too many of those teams that have these tandems, and I like it in the regular season. Like some teams need 3 guys, and it's fine, but you need to have a number 1 in your mind, not a couple of 1A, 1Bs.
I agree.
Doesn't work.
The problem with, and we've discussed it at length, there's 8 teams that have clear-cut number 1 guys, probably 8. We can go through them, but everybody else is a tandem. So you have to have trust in the guy that you are going to roll with. Colorado, look, hey, it's Wedgwood. Wedgwood's our guy, and then they went to Blackwood a little bit and went back to Wedgwood. I thought they would have started Blackwood last night. I was shocked that they didn't because Bednar kind of took a shot at him, too, and the media said, we need a save at the right time, didn't get it. So go with Blackwood last night. I don't know if that would have been the difference maker.
I didn't love Wedgwood last night.
I didn't like his game either, but
he was good in the first.
He was
and
good.
then it went away.
But the point being is, like O says, it's a coin flip now who's going to start for you with a lot of these tandem situations unless the coach and the organization just trust one guy. Because we're always, all of a sudden, we're going, well, you should have gone with Blackwood instead of Wedgwood. That's the challenge.
And look at Dobich has started every game, Anderson every game, Carter Hart every game.
Exactly.
The other three are they were tandems
Guys.
too. A lot of tandems there.
Yeah, go ahead.
Guys, I just want to tell you my philosophy, and it might sound stupid with two former NHL great goaltenders. When I look at Scott Wedgwood, and I know he performed this year, I know he did the job, but when I see some of the goals go in, and I've always thought this about him, and it might be stupid, he just looks too small.
Yep.
He really does. And it looks like there's some of the goals that have been going in, it looks like the angle's off and he's not covering enough space. I've always had a problem, and maybe it's just because I'm a shooter, and when I used to go down the ice and there was a backup goaltender like Craig Billington or Chris Terreri as opposed to Marty Brodeur or Roberto Luongo, I would be like, my God, the amount of net I'm looking at right now is incredible compared. So I just look at Scott Wedgwood and I'm like, there's too much net to be looking at, and Jack Eichel and other guys are just picking corners. I agree.
I agree.
Maybe
and
that's just the
game
forward in me. And
game 2, it should not. They are up 1-0. Eichel gets that goal to make it 1-1. He's got a half a net to shoot at.
Over.
Like you're overplaying a short side, and then the other one is a high slot shot that you blocker side. Like you got to make those saves. Like that was 2 right there. You got to make saves.
Yeah. That's why I thought they would have come back with Blackwood.
Yeah.
The other thing too is, it's known he wears smaller pads.
Yeah.
Like Henrik Lundqvist asked on the TNT broadcast, like, what's your thought process with your short pads? And he explained it very well.
He wears dark gear, which makes it look smaller.
So he looks smaller than that. Like, I think he's a really good goaltender, but he's been a backup most of his career. Yeah. All of a sudden, you're on the biggest stage. You are going to have a little bit of dip here and there. You're hoping the team would dig you out. Now that you haven't, I think they have to go to Blackwood next game.
Yeah, but it's probably too little too late at this point.
I'm telling you guys, you come down the wing or you get in the open, you have a goaltender that knowingly has small pads. It's called Shooter Cialis, okay? Shooter Cialis. Because all you're doing is, all you see is mesh. Shooter Cialis.
And there's data behind that.
Shooter Viagra.
Or data.
Oh, yeah, there's data.
There's data behind that.
Dis or data.
Yes.
Dis
Absolutely.
or data.
I just heard
Here it's the question. Colorado comes back from 0-3.
Nope. Not a chance. And
No-
I know
no
you guys
data
talked to
behind that.
Prongs, and
No
they
way.
did it with the Flyers. And they did it with, like, Michael Leighton.
Michael Leighton, yeah.
And,
Right.
so it's like, whoa, like, they didn't have a stud in that, but it doesn't
happening.
look like it. It's not happening.
Not happening. All right, Marty. We'll catch you guys on the panel tonight.
Yeah.
Have yourself a great
Go
evening.
Habs, go.
Go Habs.
It'll be fun.
Let's
Yeah.
see what
I
they
was
got.
there in Game 6 when Buffalo, but I only saw one car on fire after the game.
Oh,
so
it's going to be bedlam, man. It's going to be crazy. Yeah. Well, we'll see what comes of it this evening. Thanks for popping in. Good seeing you, Marty. It's Marty Baron. Best bet still to come. OverDrive continues up on YouTube Live.
Now, back to OverDrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
All right, Best Bet's powered by FanDuel. Make your picks and assemble a same-game parlay in seconds on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. I'm going to parlay the Habs and the Knicks on the money line.
Wow.
Yep, Montreal and New York. It's going to be bedlam in both cities on a Monday night.
Yeah.
I think the Knicks,
Where would you rather put yourself after a post game? A Montreal win or a Nick game?
Tonight,
Like if you had a private bird waiting, where would you say take me?
Tonight it's New York. If they win and they close the series out.
Yeah.
And New York, you just can't. I love Montreal. You can't beat New York, man. There's something crazy. That city is so electric, and I haven't been there in a long time.
Every night you can do something.
Yeah,
Some neon lights will be on in that city tonight.
They'll be having a good time, but you can't miss.
Yeah.
Private Bird, Montreal, New York,
Facts.
back and forth would be quite something.
Yes.
All right, there you go. Best Bets powered by FanDuel. Same-game parlays available for every Stanley Cup playoff game on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Please play responsibly, 18+, physically located in Ontario. All right, good stuff. Memorial Cup continuing tonight on TSN. At the NBA, the NHL, you get the Jays in action. It's going to be a good one. Thanks to everyone behind the scenes for helping out. We appreciate it. Everyone for tuning in today. TV, radio, podcast, web, and, of course, up on YouTube Live. We're out of here. Enjoy your evenings. Enjoy the games tonight. We're back tomorrow at...
#snorkel up. 4 p.m.
We'll chat then.